Hey Nash, it's almost Thanksgiving. What should we make?
I got us a few turkeys. Let's make that maple bourbon butter glazed turkey we made for Turkey Day last year.
All right, let's make our maple bourbon butter glazed turkey. Thanksgiving is almost upon us, so it's time to make some turkey. So we're gonna make turkey a few different ways. Today, we are going to break the turkey down into pieces and we're gonna roast it. We're gonna use a maple butter glaze. It's gonna be good. So hey, without further ado, let's go butcher a turkey. All right, so for this method, start with a whole bird, a really sharp knife, a filleting knife or something like this is probably best. And I got some poultry shears. So first thing we're gonna do is pull out all these goodies. Get rid of all this crap. I'm going to take all these, the neck and the gizzards and whatever the hell this is. I'm going to throw these into my stock pot and we're going to start on some stock. This is the little thing that's supposed to pop up when it's done, but we don't need that, so we'll get rid of that. And now on to butchering our turkey. So the first thing we have, I'm going to turn this thing upside down. You have kind of right here, call it like the oysters. This is called the Pope's nose. We don't need this. All we do here is just sort of start to cut around. You can kind of feel the bone. I do the same thing over here. Then we just want to start taking the skin off of this leg guy. And then we should just be able to there we go. There, a leg. Look at that. Now, I'm not very good at this whole butchering thing. Only to say that if you can do it, if I can do it, you can do it. So now we take this guy, do the same thing. It's kind of hard to do this backwards, but whatever. Any scraps you come across, just throw them into your stock pot if you're gonna make stock. Now we got the wings. So just kind of cut these on the back part. Then we come back up here and we want to just find that joint and try to break it. The spine, I probably should have said this part of the video, probably not for the squeamish if you don't like this kind of stuff. All right, so now our last thing is we've got these breasts. So we want to kind of cut the skin. And then you can feel for the breastbone. We just want to cut as close to it as possible. All right, so now we got all our pieces there. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna dry brine them. So all that means is we're just gonna salt all of our pieces and then throw them in the fridge uncovered for ideally 24 hours, but at least for a few hours. And into the fridge it goes. Now for the stock, I just threw all the chicken parts, all the turkey parts in there, filled it up with water. We'll add some herbs and seasoning and vegetables in a little bit, but for now we just want to fill it so everything's covered with water and just turn it on probably medium heat until you get a simmer, and then you can turn it all the way to low and you just leave it. I mean, this is something you could cook this stock for 24 hours. You want 12 hours, 6 hours. That would probably be the minimum. But yeah, so now we just wait. All right, turkey's dry brined. Like I said, you want to let this go for at least 12, 24 hours, 48 hours is fine, uncovered in the fridge. But if all you have is 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, it's gonna be better than nothing. So this has been going for a few hours. I'd like more, but I don't have the time. So, perfect example. So anyways, with your oven preheated to 425, we're gonna throw these in for 20 minutes and then lower the heat to 300. Since our stock has been cooking for a few hours now, we're gonna add some veggies. So you don't need to chop these fine. We could just rough cut them. So there's some celery, do some carrots. And then for the onion, I'm just gonna chop it in half. Leave the skin on. All this stuff's, none of this stuff's just for, we want to get all the nutrients out of it, but what's left is going to get taken out. So you can see everything cooking away in there. Then we're just going to go ahead and add all our veggies. Now to a small sauce pot, we're going to make our glaze. This is going to be a maple buttered bourbon glaze. So go ahead and melt a stick of butter. Once our butter's melted, we're going to add some maple syrup. If you have the real stuff, that's going to be best. And about a shot of bourbon. And we just let that simmer for a few minutes, and then you can turn it off and let it cool. All right, so when our first 20 minutes is done, you can see the skin's started to tighten up, crisp up nicely. We turn our heat down to 300 in our oven, and then we take this little mixture that we made, and we just brush it on. And then back in the oven. Now once we lower that temperature, we want to brush it every probably 15 minutes until your breast hits 165 or 160. You could pull it a few degrees early because it'll still warm. 160, 165 on the breast, around 175 for everything else. And after about an hour and a half cook time, you can see our turkey is done, looking beautiful. Let's take a quick measurement just to make sure. All right, our breast is a little over it's 162, so that's fine because I just took it out of the oven. Our thighs 169, so that should be fine too. So now we're just gonna transfer these over to another thing. And we'll get rid of this. And then you want to save your drippings for some gravy. So we got all of our pieces here. Just gonna put this over here to cool. So now to make our gravy, we melt some butter. This is half a stick, so 4 tablespoons of butter. And then we're gonna go in with equal parts butter and flour. So I got 4 tablespoons of flour ready to go here. So we're making a roux to start this off. Once our butter's melted, we'll go ahead and add this in a little bit at a time. We don't want any clumps. Once our roux is done, we add in some chicken stock and those pan drippings. Stir that in. I might have added a little bit much liquid here, but you can do one of two things. You can either add more flour, you could add a cornstarch slurry, or you could just let it simmer until it reduces. I'm probably just gonna let it simmer until it reduces. After about 10 minutes of simmering, the gravy is exactly where I want it, nice and thick. At this point, I would say give it a taste, see if you wanna add anything, but this one tastes good, so we're good to go. All right, now because we broke this guy down first, the carving part becomes really easy. So we got our wings. The only thing I'm gonna do to the wings is I'm just gonna get rid of this end part. Man overboard. And then on these guys, we want to separate the thigh from the drum, so like that. So then we got our thigh and we got our drum. So same thing with this guy. And here's thigh number 2. Now, lastly, we got this little cutlet. I'm just gonna leave that. Then for our breasts, I'm just gonna cut this little cutlet. And then for this guy, I'm just gonna do this. So that looks nice and pretty. And there is our lovely Maple Bourbon Butter Glazed Turkey. The one thing I forgot to mention is in the pan, I said you could put vegetables and stuff underneath the rack. Regardless of whether you do that or not, you do want to put about a cup of liquid in the pan, so it shouldn't touch the turkey, but it'll keep it moist. You could use water. I used a chicken stock with a little bit of bourbon, so any of the 3 would be fine. And then you might, as you're cooking it, if you notice that all the liquid's gone, just add a little bit more. Time for a bite. Without any gravy. Can't throw it yet. And a bite with gravy. Cheers. It's tender, it's moist. That maple bourbon butter glaze gives it some amazing flavor. The gravy is also delicious. It's just the right amount of savory. There's just like a hint of sweet from those pan drippings because you got some of that maple glaze coming down. Either way, it's an awesome punch of really, really flavorful stuff. You cannot go wrong. This is officially my favorite way to cook turkey. Even though I really only do it during Thanksgiving, maybe once or twice more during the year. It's a little bit more work up front, but so worth it. And the end part, it's really easy because you barely have to carve your turkey. So highly recommend, 10 out of 10. But let's see what Nash thinks. Hey bud, look, you got your Thanksgiving bandana on. You look so cute. Well, here we got some of that maple glazed turkey for you. Here you go. What do you think?
Even better than I remembered.
Anything you want to say to your fans?
The family that eats together stays together.
Nash approves, I approve. We've both had this one before though, so that's not a surprise. But either way, it's not a terribly difficult dish to make, and anyone you're serving for Thanksgiving or whatever, I think they'll love it. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. I hope you have a great one. Make sure and say what you're thankful for. Enjoy spending time with your families. Hopefully that's not too difficult after this election, but just remember, love is love. Matters above all. So yeah, love you all. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for watching. If you wouldn't mind taking a second to like, share, and subscribe, that would really help us out. We'd really appreciate it. If you want notifications every time we drop a new video, go ahead and hit that notification bell. If there's anything you want me to cook, you want me and Nash to taste, drop it down in the comments or head over to our website, timschaoskitchen.com. Send us a message there. And hey, just remember, cook more, eat better, embrace the chaos. That's it for now, folks. Next time, we'll have a smoked turkey. Peace.